Future Millionaire. It's 9:42 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the East Coast. The Fed speaks today. We talked about how we were going to pump overnight leading into the Fed. I had an update out, a couple of them yesterday, that showed exactly what was going to happen. The one was hours before this started happening. We just have to watch this because for me, I didn't even buy in. Unless I had already bought something, and on that huge drop, I didn't buy anything for this latest couple percent. Because to me, with Evergrande, everything that's talking, with the talks they're putting a positive spin on it in the market everywhere. Look at this. I mean, when you type in for crypto, they're putting in such a positive spin right now. Everywhere you look, it's like crypto's going to the moon. Or not crypto, Bitcoin. What am I doing? But that's a huge story, though, guys, and that's why I wanted to bring this up here. The legal tender IMF urges El Salvador to drop Bitcoin. So, something's going on here, guys. It's really something big's going on. So, that's a big story about the IMF trying to get El Salvador to drop Bitcoin because shit's going on. So, first things first, I wanted to look at the charts real quick. So Bitcoin's at up 1,186. It's up over 38,150. You can see the rounding of the top now, though. We've got a classic head and shoulders topping reversal pattern here. And if we break down through 38,000, that's going to propel us to 37.5. But what we were talking about yesterday, that's in the 1 minute. What we were talking about yesterday is how we could come back up here and push this area right here at minimum, we thought. We thought we could come around, push this area, and then it could either come down or go farther. But to test the neckline, we had to come back up here of the head and shoulders top and reversal pattern. We had a neckline around 40,000. You generally come back up and retest that support as resistance, and that's going to either be that's likely going to be that drop point there right around 39,000. Even though you have to go up a little higher to about just under 40,500. So you really need to come up to about here to properly here. We're going to keep this, but we'll move this 39,600. We'll move this up just a little bit so we can show where you need to go to test that neckline. And it's in light red. So I thought this was a pretty easy pump to see. Whether or not you got in it or not, that doesn't mean you made a right or wrong decision. Some people don't want to buy it just to sell some of these for 10% and have to pay the tax implications, which I totally understand. I didn't get in these, even though I could see the pump coming. Like AAV, I told you guys yesterday at $148 that was a buy, and it hit it. And now today it's up, 7.5%. And I was highly considering buying it. But when it comes to tax implications and what I'm trying to do, I've already got my money planned out beautifully. So I don't want to get caught up in this nonsense. This is a bull trap of all bull traps, like I said yesterday. There is no volume that's pushed us through this level, and it just continues this sideways and up narrative. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends right around 39K. I wouldn't be surprised if we capped right here at 39,119. So I would say that's your resistance. Your support's 38,056 if we can hold this. XRP is exactly what we thought it was. It came up almost to the 64 cents. Now we're going to see, can it break this area? And let's be 100% accurate so you can see where that's at. 65,445. Then we got a resistance above it at 69,853. Support at 60 cents. Again, there's no volume, guys. So when you want to talk about exposing a pattern, there's no volume. With everything going on in the market, this pump right now is manipulated. As you know, they try to trap as many people as possible when the market's about to collapse. So be very careful because this is nothing more than to bend every retail investor over. Hit that like button. I appreciate everybody tuning in. We got business to cover. Make sure to hit that like button. So China, Evergrande target. C3 AI is solving. What the? Russia's central bank just highlighted 3 valid. What is this crap? That's not what I want. I'm on the wrong one. China Evergrande targets restructuring proposal within 6 months as creditor talks begin. So this came out today. China Evergrande Group told creditors it aimed to have a preliminary restructuring proposal in place of within 6 months on Wednesday. In its first direct communication with them since the property giant finances began to unravel last year, once China's developer Evergrande has racked up debt of more than $300 billion and is struggling to repay creditors, suppliers, and investors in wealth management market products. And missed some dollar bond payments last month, sparking calls for talks, and nearly $20 billion of its international bonds are now deemed to be in default. Evergrande 333.HK newly appointed executive director C. Schwan, who is also chairman of Evergrande New Energy Vehicle Group Ltd 0708.HK, said on the call the group was working on a comprehensive restructuring plan, which it aimed to propose within 6 months, adding that it hoped to work with creditors to achieve a risk management solution. The board of directors and the risk management committee look forward to having further communications with investors and respectively request them not to take any aggressive legal actions in order to maintain stability for the mutual benefits of all stakeholders, Sue said on the call. We noticed there are doubts about the transparency and the restructuring process of the group. We'd like to take this opportunity to explain to all creditors that the board of directors, the risk management committee, and the group will work expeditiously to stabilize the group operation. In stock exchange filing shortly after the call, the developer said it would continue to listen carefully to opinions and suggestions of creditors. Some bondholders said they were disappointed by the call, which they said lacked insight on Evergrande's plan. I had no expectations before the call and no expectations after the call. Frankly speaking, I believe the financial decision-making is led by the government. The company is relatively passive, said one offshore bondholder in Evergrande. The bondholder declined to be named as he was not authorized to speak to the media. Evergrande on Monday sought more time from its offshore bondholders to work on a debt restructuring plan after a group of creditors said they were ready to take all necessary actions to defend their rights. The company's debt crisis has engulfed other Chinese developers, roiled global financial markets in the past year, and contributed to the slump in China's property market, which accounts for a quarter of the economy. A member of the Developers Risk Management Committee, Chen Young, also joined the 25-minute call, which included prepared answers to questions the participants added. Chen is a compliance director of state-owned Guosen Security. Andrew Hong, Evergrande's Hong Kong branch general manager, was also to be present. On the call, said the participants declined to be named due to confidentiality constraints. Evergrande set up the Risk Management Committee in December, which mostly members from state enterprises as the Guangdong Provisional Government is leading work on its restructuring. The call turned out to be disappointing. Not that I was expecting any fireworks, but still, some insights on business would have been useful. 6 months is a long time for a draft restructuring plan, Himanshu Porel, an EM credit analyst at Seaport Global, said. Disclosure: Evergrande has also asked bondholders to disclose the holdings by the middle of this week to identify investors for communications and hired more financial and legal advisors to follow up on creditor demands. Read more if you want. Shares in Evergrande closed up 1.7% on Wednesday, while its defaulted dollar bond due April 2022 dropped to 15.997 cents on the dollar from 17.074 overnight, duration finance data shows. Rating agency Moody's said in a report on Wednesday that convenient packages in Evergrande's offshore insurance had become increasingly lax, loosening or eliminating key protections and putting the recovery prospects for offshore creditors in peril. Offshore bondholders rank behind the creditors of Evergrande, more than 1,950 onshore subsidiaries, Moody's added, one of which guaranteed a dollar bond. Moody's said weakened covenants and increased debt carve-outs had allowed Evergrande to increase leverage materially. Flexible covenants have left Evergrande and other Chinese property developers with a corporate family rating of B3 negative and below vulnerable to the highly cynical nature of China's real estate market, Jacob Wu, a Moody's vice president and senior covenant official, says. So that's something to keep us updated on Evergrande, because they did default and it's getting way worse. And now Russia Central Bank, as if it wasn't bad enough, Russia Central Bank just highlighted 3 valid crypto flaws that U.S. billionaire bulls are ignoring, and this also came out today. When Russia talks more sense about an economic issue than famed business elite influencers who boast millions of followers, those followers should be worried. The authoritarian nation that's massing its army on the Ukraine borders just issued an insightful assessment of the craze in cryptocurrency. All negative, amazingly. You'll learn more listening to the Bank of Russia than such celebrated crypto bulls as Tesla's Elon Musk, Block's Jack Dorsey, and Michael Sherry's Michael Saylor. You might want to pay attention. Special attention since Bitcoin died below 35,000 is casting doubts that it's the global currency of the future. Dorsey are a fabulous store of value. Musk and Wood. The Bank of Russia bashes crypto. On January 20th, as Bitcoin hovered around 43,000, Russia's equivalent of the U.S. Fed issued a consolation paper advocating that the government ban all cryptocurrency production, trading, and investing by its citizens and banks within its borders. Russia is the latest entry in a long line of nations seeking to boot or limit crypto mining or restrict or abolish transactions in digital currencies from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Cardano. The list encompasses China, the former top hub for mining, as well as most of the nations where the big Chinese producers sought to relocate. Iran, Kazakhstan, whatever. Iceland, India, Sweden were top officials favor a stoppage, and Georgia, which announced it was weighing on outright prohibition on Bitcoin mining days before Russia's bombshell. So that's all I wanted to read on there too. It's fascinating though, guys. There's a lot of stuff going on. If you get caught in this, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt bad. There's a reason why they're setting up all the markets to do this. We haven't really gone up at all. Even though Bitcoin, is up better than probably 15% past few days after a massive drop. So you can say it's bouncing up, but it hasn't recovered its losses yet. This is a classic bull trap, and I wanted to come to you one step ahead and tell you guys exactly what's going on. So pay attention.